Hey everybody, Dan here. This is Dan Does Disney, and we are over Zoom with Tim. Hello, Tim.
Hi, everybody.
Wearing his wonderful Bluth's banana shirt for repping Arrested Development.
Yep. There's
Always
always
love that. Yeah. And you actually have our video this week.
yeah. We will be we watched and we will be reviewing the movie Tonka.
Now, looking at that package, Tim, did you think Tonka was the name of that Indian?
I thought so as well, but
It's a
no,
little bit misleading, I would
the
say.
name of this horse that's in the background here.
Yes, very in the background though. Like, come on. So I was a little shocked to find out it was really a movie more about the horse. It's about the people too, but the horse is kind of at the epicenter of it all because he is indeed Tonka. So there's almost no background information in existence about this movie. My 5 or 6 Disney sites I always go to literally had nothing. I know it's filmed in Oregon. It was filmed on location in Oregon. We know that. We know it's based on a book that Tim will tell us about. And it opened on Christmas Day, 1958. We know that. And did pretty well. It had $2.5 million box office take. Although I have no knowledge of how much it cost to make, but probably not $2.5 million, I would imagine. And it was a pretty big hit with critics at the time. And we talked last time about Fess Parker and his final film, which was Light in the Forest, but he was supposed to be in this film. Now, Tim, you read about the whole Fess Parker getting out of his contract thing with Light in the Forest. Did you read anything about this particular film with it?
No, I just read that he was offered a small role in this movie and he turned it down. I'm not sure what role that was.
Okay, so I think he was supposed to play a bigger role than that. He was supposed to play Miles Kehoe.
Oh.
And yeah, but he was pissed because his character Del Hardy in Light in the Forest was overshadowed by the kid, and he was like barely in. I wanted to call it Lassie, Old Yeller. So he was like, well, this is going to happen again. I'm going to be basically, third build after Sal Mineo and this horse. So forget this. So he refused to appear in this film, thereby breaking his contract. I had sort of thought he asked to get out of his contract, but no, apparently he was suspended by Disney because of this decision. And then Disney never hired him again.
Yeah, I guess Miles Kehoe is a lot smaller of a role than Sal Mineo. So I understand his viewpoint, but I thought it was like a really small role, kind of like more like the father in Old Yeller, unlike Del Hardy. I thought he had enough screen time in The Light in the Forest as much as it would have been in this one as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much like Light in the Forest was not a small role. I would say it was supporting, definitely, but I guess same thing here. So as Tim gets into the description of the actual film, I will say that we know this is a fictional film, but it's based on some historic events, kind of like we've seen before a little bit with Johnny Tremaine and some of the other ones. And then the battle at the end is supposedly fairly true to what actually happened. I don't have any release information about US VHS or DVD releases for this movie. I couldn't find any. I have some UK stuff. I can imagine they probably dovetailed maybe with the US, but there was a 1992 and 95 VHS release. And then the DVD I have that Tim is holding up.
Yep, this DVD right here.
That is another one from the Disney Movie Club as an exclusive. And I think that came out in 2009. I don't know if it says on there or not, Tim.
I can't really see it. It's like...
This is one where I literally had to ask the lady at Disney for the movie because it was on their site, but when I was having site issues or whatever, so I called and I said, "Oh, I want to order this movie Tonka." She said, "We don't have a movie called Tonka. What are you talking about, sir?" So I talked her into it. She looked it up. She said, "Oh yeah, there's a movie called Tonka." So even the people that work at Disney don't know about this movie. And as you and I said last week, it's not on Disney Plus. And we had some theories that maybe the religious more religious-based films plus Song of the South are the ones not on Disney Plus, because it seems like everyone we've talked about has some sort of religious bent. I did not quite find this one to be in that vein.
No, but he does quote the Bible at one point in this movie.
I guess that's true. That's pretty minor, though. I mean, I think we have more. There's definitely more religious references in some of the later films than that. This is also the final of the 50s Westerns. Walt finally was starting to make money on his bigger budget pictures, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, for example. So for me, this is a good thing. I'm getting kind of sick of these movies all kind of being the same. But Tim, let's throw to you and hear about the story of Tonka, and then we'll kind of get into it.
Yeah, but you were correct. It's the 2009 DVD release date.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, and there was one released in the UK around that same time. I don't know if it was a Disney exclusive or not, but
they have white writing on like a light orange background. It was kind of hard to find it.
Yeah, they're such like bargain bin DVDs. No wonder the Disney people don't even know they exist.
Okay, so here we have Tonka. The film is based on the book Comanche, Story of America's Most Heroic Horse by David Appel, which tells the imaginary story of the Indian and U.S. cavalry owners of the horse known as Comanche, that is often known as the only survivor of the Battle of Little Bighorn. The movie takes place in the Dakota Territories in the 1870s. White Bull, a young Sioux, proves his manhood by catching and training a wild colt, which he names Tonka. But when his cruel cousin Yellow Bear claims the horse because of rank, White Bull lets Tonka go. The horse ends up in the hands of Captain Miles Keogh in the U.S. Cavalry, and he renames him Comanche. Tensions in the area are rising as Sitting Bull gathers tribes, and General Custer marches to meet them, leading to battle and White Bull and Tonka's paths crossing again. So the cast includes, as we said, Sal Mineo. He plays White Bull, a young Sioux Indian, and he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor in 2 movies, Rebel Without a Cause, which premiered before this movie, and then after this in the movie Exodus. And those are the 2 big movies he's known for.
He was also was he also in Giant with James Dean?
I don't know. I didn't see that on his.
I've never seen any James Dean movies. Do you know that?
I've only seen Rebel Without a Cause.
Okay. Yeah, that was obviously a big one.
And that was because of film class.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, that makes sense. He was in Giant, but yeah, that's a James Dean. Okay, yeah, Elizabeth Taylor, Rock Hudson, James Dean, and he was in Giant as well. Much smaller role, but all right. So he was in 2 of the 3 James Dean movies.
Yeah, and Sal Mineo at a young age too. He was 37. He got stabbed in a mugging.
Yeah, I read about that after I saw this movie because I'm like, okay, I know the name Sal Mineo, but why? I thought he was like a old time crooner. I thought he was like a 40s and 50s, like Frank Sinatra era crooner. And that's not the case. He was a young actor, and he did a lot of TV and movies. And his last movie was one of the Planet of the Apes movies.
Yeah, I forget which one it was.
Escape.
Okay,
but yeah, died very young and very white. He's not Indian, so we'll definitely talk about that.
Yeah, you have Philip Carey. He plays Captain Miles Keogh. And he did a lot of westerns, but then he became famous for portraying a character for about 3 decades on the soap opera One Life to Live.
Yes,
that's where most people would know him from. The only other names I have down here, I have Rafael Campos. He plays Strong Bear. We just saw him play. I think it was Half Arrow or Broken Arrow. He was True Son's friend in the movie In the Light of the Forest, and he plays the best friend again in this movie. And then we have Brit Lummond, and he plays General Custer. And I couldn't really find out what else he did. I looked at his
and this I mean, yeah, he actually moved away from acting and became more of a behind the scenes producer and production manager on some TV shows. But this movie has hardly none of the famous Disney people. I mean, we've been going through all of these movies, and so many of them have intersecting, 3, 4, 5 different people. This has almost nobody from other Disney movies.
Yeah,
which is rare.
It's a rarity. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I have some information about the real Comanche. So he was he retired after being nursed to health, back to health. He lived for until he was about 29 years old. They don't know how old he was because he was bought and he was a wild horse kind of type of thing.
Yeah.
So they don't really know his background. And he lived until 1891. The Battle of Little Bighorn takes place in 1876. So he lived for a good amount of time after that, and he was treated like a prince. He is one of only 4 horses in U.S. History to be given a military funeral with full military honors. And
wow.
And then his remains were preserved as a taxidermy mount at the University of Kansas's Natural History Museum. So he's widely known as the only survivor of the Battle of Little Bighorn, but there was other horses that survived as well, but not nearly as badly injured as Comanche was. Like some pack horses ran away and things like that, but he was very badly injured in the battle. And there was also a yellow bulldog that was there as well. And he survived as well. But the one side that I was reading, they were like, well, Comanche is still fully preserved in a taxidermy mount. So he is truly the last survivor of the Battle of Little Bighorn.
I guess that is true. In that sense. Why didn't Walt do a movie about the dog? He loves dog movies.
Yeah, well, he didn't have
spin-off, maybe.
I guess he didn't have a bigger part.
Yes, not. And this did air on the Disneyland show as Comanche in the late 60s. I think it's odd and sort of shifty that Disney kept doling out these old movies under new titles, so you think it's a different movie, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, it was on TV though, so. But it is. I thought it was weird that for a famous horse being called Comanche, that the movie is called Tonka.
Yes, there's a lot of weird things about this movie, one could say.
Yeah, and then you have the opening song, which is called Tonka.
It's basically like Tonka, King of the Wild Frontier. Like it's almost the same melody as the other ones.
Yeah, but it has more of a Native American feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's more of a tribal type of song. Than
I guess that's true with the big drums.
Yeah. Then it is like the whole ballad of Davy Crockett type of thing. But
you're right.
The lyrics are very similar. Just explaining who Tonka is.
Yes.
What color he is. He's the color of autumn fall leaves. And his hoofs are the sound of thunder.
Yep. Wow, Tim, you know all the words. Well, you just watched it.
Yeah, I just watched it.
And they do play it at the beginning and the end, like every Disney 50s Western.
Yeah, and when I started the movie, I thought Tonka was the name of the young Indian. I was like, this is a weird way to describe him. And then I'm like, they're saying hooves. I'm like, okay, I have to look this up. Okay, the horse's name is Tonka. Okay, got it.
That's good.
Yeah. So some bad things that I have written down. The night scenes were very dark. Sometimes they were almost too dark to even really tell what was happening. And then it would shift to a different angle, and that one would be kind of well lit. And you're like, what's going on here? And then also there's some bad green screen in the final battle scene, especially with the close-ups of Young Bull and Strong Bear is his best friend's name. Them riding, it's obviously green screen. They're probably not even on horses. They're just on something, probably moving up and down.
Yeah, it did look bad. I didn't consider that maybe they weren't even on horses, but it's
No,
possible.
no, there's no way they're on horses. They're on moving up and down, and there's a green screen behind them that was showing other captured footage or something like that. It was.
Wow. I wonder if that was done like after the fact or something. Because I mean, it was supposedly all filmed on location.
Yeah, I imagine that they filmed a lot on location, then probably realized that they needed to probably reshoot some stuff because the stuff they had in the background was looked like it was stuff that they filmed on location.
Yeah. Well, and the style of this movie is very similar to a lot of the other westerns we've seen already. And so the director of this, Lewis R. Foster, this is his one and only Disney thing, as far as I can figure out. He is an Oscar winner for writing Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. We know that movie.
Yeah.
And he was nominated for a screenplay for another movie, but this is, as far as I know, the only Disney thing he ever did. So I don't know.
I tried looking him up. I think I did see that maybe did he direct like a episode of the Wonderful World of Disney or something like that? I thought I saw something like that.
Well, he directed a couple episodes of Tales of Wells Fargo, which was a Western show.
Or maybe it was a different.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, yeah, 3 episodes of Wonderful World of Disney. Okay, but are 2 of those 3 episodes this movie?
Probably,
because you're right, they could be the way they ran things. So maybe he just directed like a short or something for one of the other ones. But yeah, looks wise, compared to some of the other westerns we've seen, I'm not sure if this one looked as good. Maybe it was the lighting. I don't know.
The night scenes were really bad for the lighting. I thought
horrible.
Did it better. But I thought a lot of the horse riding scenes that like you actually saw them riding the horses, they were filmed really well. There was some obviously like tracking dolly type of vehicle shots of riding right next to the horse or the guys riding the horses, and they were shot pretty well.
Yeah, they were fine. How did you feel about Sal Mineo as this White Bull character? Because I actually thought he did a really good job. If I didn't know, and the wig was pretty bad, but if I didn't know that he wasn't Native American, I'm not sure I would have known. I thought he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I thought his acting was really good. I mean, but he wasn't the only person that was portraying a Native American that wasn't Native American.
Right.
His
So
mother,
I guess.
His mother was played by someone like Joy Page. I looked up her acting career. I mean, she had a minor role in like Casablanca or something like that. And then I think the guy that played Yellow Bear, like the villainous cousin, I don't think he was Native American either. I think the only maybe Native American guy there was the guy that plays Strong Bear.
Strong Bear, yeah, he definitely.
And then the guy that played Sitting Bull, the chief, like I looked him up, and he was obviously a Native American name.
Oh yeah, John War Eagle.
Yeah,
that's pretty Native American.
I mean, it is very sad that that you couldn't get Native American actors to play these roles, but it's 19. Are we in 60s or 59?
Yeah. No, we're still in the 50s. This came out in 58, so it was probably shot in 57, 58. Right. But I mean, there's a lot of Native American characters in some of these other movies we've done recently. I thought that many of them were realistic, but I guess maybe a lot of them probably were white, and I just didn't realize it.
Yeah, I mean, the guy that played the chief in the last one, I think he was like a Filipino descent. I forget his name, but I mean, he wasn't Native American, but I mean, he looks Native American in the movie.
Yeah, they God bless them. You know, it's not the right thing, but they look authentic. You know, between the wigs and the braided hair and everything, and I thought he looked pretty good. And I think this movie on the whole is probably less offensive in the grand scheme of things story wise, because they're all very strong characters.
Yeah, I mean, I think it basically the same conversation that we had in Light in the Forest is that it shows good and bad on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have Captain Keo. He respects Native Americans and he doesn't really want to fight them, but I mean they're in a war as
Right.
well. But then you have Custer who just wants to fight anything. But then you have sympathetic characters like White Bull and Strong Bear who are just trying to get war feathers. But then you have Yellow Bear, his cousin, who's just kind of like a jerk. So you kind of see good people and bad people on both sides.
I think Yellow Bear is about the worst one in the movie. I mean, yeah, Custer sucks, but like, I mean, you know, taking good old Tonka away and calling him Comanche and all this, and then not wanting White Bull to see him and all of that. Not cool.
Not cool. Yeah. He definitely is the main villain in this movie, and he definitely gets the most comeuppances in this movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the end scene was I thought kind of bloody for I mean, maybe not real blood, but like it was pretty violent for, you know, a Disney live action movie. It reminded me of the Davy Crockett Last Stand kind of bit there too.
Yeah, I mean, you have a famous, well-known battle, which you know the results of going into this movie. Like, I mean, maybe going to this movie, you didn't realize that you were going to go to Battle of Little Bighorn. Like, you obviously knew David Crockett was going to go to the Alamo.
Right.
But once you got there, like, okay, they say Little Bighorn, you meet General Custer, and you're like, okay, well, we kind of know where this is going.
Right. Yeah, I just it never ceases to blow my mind how you know, family movies in the 30s, 40s, 50s were very different. I feel just in tone from some of the family movies of today.
Well, we discussed it when we talked about Westward Ho the Wagons when Walt filmed the Native Americans attacking the wagon train there and not showing any deaths whatsoever, not having any violence, and he was like, oh wait, this doesn't look authentic.
Right.
They had to reshoot it. So I think he kind of learned from that and was like, okay, we have to show some violence, but doesn't have to be overly bloody or gruesome or things like that. I mean, for the amount of people that died in that movie, like there's very little blood.
Yeah, that is very true. But I wonder if maybe the idea of some of this violence is what got him to veer off of the Westerns. Because like I said, this is pretty much the last of the Western series, the historical series. You know, the 60s was all about the silly, you know, Shaggy Dog, Freaky Friday, Herbie kind of stuff. For the most part. I mean, there's going to be other ones too, but, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, we're talking about the 50s, like really you don't have the MPAA then, you just have
the old hates.
You either have approved or not approved. I mean, like how hard it was to get a movie approved, and
right.
They would show it and anybody could see it. Like we talked about how like in this time period, like people were taking their kids to go see gangster movies and things like that. So I'm not sure if people really
they didn't care
that much violence in the movies.
No.
And then maybe Walt really finally realized, like, hey, maybe I'll make a little bit more money by having more family friendly movies. Like they were probably making this movie at the same time they were making Old Yeller, and then probably the success of Old Yeller was like, hey, I don't have to have these Western movies with a whole bunch of violence in it. I could just have like a family friendly movies and people are going to see it. And this probably made less money than Old Yeller as well. I mean, this probably made,
I would think so,
made money, but he was like, oh, families want good, wholesome entertainment. And this is probably what kind of veered him towards the success of Old Yeller.
Yeah. Well, and thinking about it, I mean, just on the TV front, I guess the two are kind of intertwined too, because in the 50s you had like, all the Western shows on TV and all the shoot 'em ups, but then in the 60s you had like all the more fantastical things like I Dream of Jeannie and the Munsters and My Favorite Martian, where, yeah, let's do the Shaggy Dog, let's do, Herbie the Love Bug. So I guess that makes sense, kind of just going with the times more too. But all right. Well, anyway, this says, by the way, and this can't be right, but this says it was produced by John Lasseter. And I click on it. This is on Wikipedia, and it's the same guy, but maybe it's his dad or something. Because the John Lasseter we know from Pixar was born in the 50s, so there's no way. But like, I wonder if his dad was also named John Lasseter and also worked for Disney.
Maybe, but I doubt it. It's not like, I don't know. That'd be a weird coincidence.
I don't know either. I'm very confused by this whole thing. But look, anybody can put anything on Wiki, so I guess maybe it's not true. But it's very, very odd. All right. Anyway, so what else do we like and not like about this movie? Well, let's talk about the horse. We didn't even talk really about Tonka, Comanche, what have you.
I thought the story of Tonka, the horse, it was a good story for a horse movie. About making friends with people who treat him right, and not really getting along with people that don't treat him well. I mean, it's a little weird for like these types of movies where like it seems like the horse understands the people talking to him. Like every time White Bull,
I hate it, Tim,
was like talking to him, like he would always like move his hoof and like okay, I understand what you're doing. But I mean, I talk to animals all the time. I know that.
I know, I do too.
But so I can't really fault it for that. But
I don't think they know what I'm saying though.
Yeah, but I think the story arc of Tonka was a decent story for a horse movie. I don't really watch that many horse movies. I haven't.
Me neither.
I haven't seen War Horse, so I can't compare it to that.
I have seen War Horse. That's a great movie. Spielberg.
I feel like it would be similar to that. Like you have a horse that's doing courageous things in battle.
Yeah, honestly, that's not a bad comparison. I don't really love horse movies. I'm pretty sure I said this when I reviewed Black Beauty when they remade that last year on Disney Plus. But I don't know. Horse movies aren't my thing, but there have been ones that I've liked. War Horse is certainly one of them. And, I thought maybe that's because it was Steven Spielberg and whatever. But I do kind of like this in a similar vibe. So maybe it's less the like, maybe I don't like so much the like little girl with her horse story as I do like, like a fighting horse or a fight over the horse like we have here. I thought that was kind of interesting. And then he sort of bonded with, one of the new owners as he was trying to, get him back or whatever, or just come see him. I thought that part was good. So yeah, I enjoyed the horse stuff in this, I think a bit more than in just like either like a horse racing movie or something like that.
Or like the last horse movie we watched for Disney, which was The Littlest Outlaw, where he was just dragging a horse along with him for.
Well, that was just horrible on so many levels, Tim. The acting was bad. The horse stuff was stupid. I mean, this has a much better story, even regardless of the Custer stuff.
Yeah.
That we already know. Like, I think this has a more, invigorating story. And I think Sal Mineo, as we've said, does a pretty good job here as well as the lead.
Yeah. And like, I understand why Philip Carey had a really good career as in Westerns prior to finding his niche in the soap opera community. Because I mean, I thought he did a really good job as the captain there. Yeah.
I listen, I think it's good that we didn't have Fess Parker again, because it would have been the same old role he always plays. This at least gave us new blood. I don't think Fess would have brought anything to the character that Philip Carey didn't.
Yeah, and we already discussed that maybe it was also Disney really forcing the Davy Crockett vibe on Fess Parker.
Yeah.
And I mean, this would be like a carbon copy of David Crockett, of like a famous, guy
Basically,
died
yeah.
back then. Like I think maybe that was also a little bit into it.
Yeah, yeah. Talk about being typecast. All right. Well, is there anything else to talk about with this movie? I mean, it's really quite basic. We've talked about so many Disney westerns at this point.
Yeah. I mean, the DVD. If we want to talk about the DVD, all it has is play and scene selection, so there's not really much to it.
No, nothing to it really.
Yeah.
Sad again.
Yeah.
But and this is not available on Disney Plus. Again, like these other ones that haven't been, you can rent it on Amazon Prime for $6.99 or something like that. But yeah, any thoughts on why this one isn't on Disney Plus? Is it maybe the whitewashing of all the characters?
I mean, it could be that. It might also be the fact that he quotes the Bible. I think we discovered something last week when we just found out that every single movie that we have discussed that has anything to do with religion is not on Disney Plus.
Yeah, and it's really odd. And none of them are important enough or famous enough for people to be like, why is it Light in the Forest on Disney Plus?
Yeah, and the one that the DVD that we had for So Dear to My Heart actually had a lot in it. It had compared to some of these other things, it had like a scrapbook, had a couple intros for Walt Disney, and it was one of Walt Disney's pet projects. He loved that, and it was a really great movie. It just has really strong religious tones in it sometimes. So that would be the one movie I think out of all the ones that we discussed is why people are like, hey, why is this not on Disney Plus? But people don't know it because it's not on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like other than people like you and I who are literally trying to watch every Disney movie, I mean, nobody's talking about Tonka or Dear to My Heart or The Light in the Forest. But if they were on Disney Plus, I bet you that people are finding a lot of old gems from the 40s, 50s, 60s on Disney Plus that they've never heard of before. So it's unfortunate. I mean, it's available on iTunes and Amazon Prime to buy or rent, but not on Disney Plus. Maybe we did uncover it, Tim.
And I think it's that over the whitewashing. The whitewashing is bad. But they have other things that are very offensive to Native Americans on Disney Plus, and they put that disclaimer on there.
Yeah.
I mean,
certainly David Crockett.
Yeah, I'm not Native American, so I can't discuss what's worse of being whitewashed or being the Peter Pan song, The Red Man. Like, I don't know which is worse, but I imagine to Native Americans both are bad.
But Peter Pan's also such a classic. You can't just not, if you're going to have every Disney animated classic on there, you can't just take Peter Pan off. So, they put it up with the disclaimer, the old Muppets disclaimer, as it's now known.
I mean, we've had some Westerns on there. Like we had, pretty sure.
Yeah.
Was Westward Ho the West? No, Westward Ho.
No, that was from my DVD as well. Some of the Westerns have been on there, though, right?
Davy Crockett. That's about it.
Maybe Davy Crockett's the only one then. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe they did, but it still doesn't explain So Dear to My Heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, the world may never know about that one, Tim. Let's grade Tonka, though, before we wrap up here. I thought this one was all right. I think a B- is pretty acceptable for this film. What were you thinking?
I was thinking pretty much on the same page. I was either going to give it a C+ or a B-, right in that area.
Yeah. It wasn't necessarily boring like some of the other ones we've done.
No, and even though it's about a horse changing ownerships, I didn't think it was disjointed like Westward Ho the Wagons, which was like two different things that they could have I could see them splitting this up, like, oh, here is Comanche with White Bull, and here's Comanche with Captain Keo, and that's probably where they split it up in the Wonderful World of Disney, but it didn't feel disjointed.
Yeah, I completely agree. Did we ever determine if Westward Ho the Wagons was originally supposed to be a 2-part show like Johnny Tremaine, or we didn't figure that out. But it certainly seemed like it.
It did seem like it. But...
Yeah. But this one didn't. I agree. This is more together. And I do think if Fess Parker was in it, I think I probably would have C+'d it. I just am sick of the same bit. So I was happy to see a different person in that role.
Yeah, but I'll go with a B-. It's fair.
All right. All right. So the next one you and I are going to do actually will be in a couple of weeks, because I think Sleeping Beauty is the next one overall, right?
Yes, Sleeping Beauty is next. And then
is Darby O'Gill the next one for us?
No, I think we finally get to the Shaggy Dog.
Oh, one of my favorites. Let's see if that's true. Oh, yes, it is. I love the Shaggy Dog. Yes, that was wow, I can't believe that was 59, man. All right, so yeah, before we close out the decade, you and I will do the Shaggy Dog, Darby O'Gill and the Little People, which I just got on DVD because I don't think that one's on Disney Plus. Zorro the Avenger, and then Third Man on the Mountain. Zorro the Avenger is a weird one because it wasn't released in theaters in the US, I don't think. I think it was a European only, and then America, we got it on the Disneyland TV show, I think. I'll have to look into it a little more. But either way, it's a movie that got released somewhere, so I guess we'll do it on the show here.
But Zorro the Avenger is not on Disney Plus. The Signs of Zorro, which is the sequel based off later episodes of the TV show, is on Disney Plus. But
okay,
Zorro the Avenger is not on Disney Plus. So
all right, I think I have the entire Zorro TV show on the Disney like Legacy DVD. I forget what those DVDs were called. The Treasures, Disney Treasures. But yeah, I don't know if the movie's on there or not.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a few weeks away, but I'll have to do a little digging and see what the story is with that. But in the meantime, yes, the next one for us will be The Wonderful Shaggy Dog, which you've never seen. I'm very excited about this.
Aaron
I thought when I was a kid. Oh,
Aaron,
yeah?
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to watch Shaggy Dog with you. I'm going to watch Thanks Wish Family Robinson and a couple other ones. So she's been asking me, like, when Shaggy Dog? When Shaggy Dog? I'm like, it's coming.
Yes, your wife is a big classic Disney fan, but of the famous ones, not Tonka and not these nonsense ones we've been doing, but the ones that I grew up with the Shaggy Dog and I loved it. But yeah, I've never seen any of these old Westerns we've done. So this will be the first live action one I think I've ever maybe seen. But all right, that will be in due time. Thank you all for watching. Tim, thank you as always for joining, and we'll see everybody next time.
Bye, everybody.